agenda for the day. So we have done one, which is the first item on the agenda, which is the general introduction. Now we're going to go into module 1 introduction. Then we'll talk a bit about purpose. We're going to talk about what I call Girl Interrupted. And then we're talking about the war room strategy. And then we'll conclude and we're out of here for today. So the first thing that I want us to talk about is, and I've said that first thing, which is that you took a huge leap of faith to be in class. I'm really cheering you on. I think that you are a superwoman. Number one, for signing up despite the topic. Number two, for signing up, even though you were not even sure whether it's free or paid. That's a big deal. And we're assuring you that it's free for the next 1 week. Class is free. All right. Then, I read everything that everyone had submitted in the forms, and I had to say first, let me say sorry. Sorry that you had to go through what you went through. Sorry that life has been like this so far. Sorry that, sorry that you've been treated the way you have been treated. On behalf of the world, on behalf of God, I apologize to you, and I say we see your pain, we see your heart, and we say sorry. Secondly, well done for thinking that there is a solution. Well done for making another effort. I know this is probably not the first time you have tried to have a solution or to get someone to speak to. So well done for trying again. Now, just looking at our pain points, and this is intentional, just so that we can all know that we're all here for this for similar reasons. I tried to summarize the pain point that many of us had written down, and at the top of the list is infidelity of a spouse, and of course a cheating spouse. It's right there at the top of the list, but we also have things that are equally as emotionally draining as emotional abuse, financial constraints. People have been through domestic abuse. People have literally been beaten in this class. Communication issues, he does not listen, he doesn't seem to understand you. Knowing his maturity, he listens only to his mom, he listens only to his friends, so he's immature. Some people are battling with pornography, masturbation by a spouse. Please let me know if my internet messes up so that I can switch. So some people are battling with pornography and masturbation by their spouse, which of course makes them feel not good enough in some cases. People are battling with not having quality time with their spouses, toxic spouses, no quality time together, unforgiveness, selfishness, toxicity, being uncaring, being disrespectful, treating you like the maid, or not treating you like an equal partner. People are struggling with loneliness. Even though you're married, you feel lonely because the person that is to be there for you isn't there. And then there's, of course, the emotional disconnection where someone is present, but they're not really present. And of course, then we have no spirituality where you're like, this person is not spiritual, this person, and we have lack of love. It's just not showing love in any way. And then, of course, third-party interference, again, friends, in-laws, family members. So that is what we don't have. It's a long list. It's a long list of different things that we currently don't have. But then we have this, if you look at this second column, where I said, what do we have? What do we actually have? And I titled it Gratitude Note. What do we actually have? And I left it blank because it is you and I that will fill in that gap, but it's not now. We'll come back in maybe 4 weeks as we're closing the course to say, what do we actually have? And why are we going to come back for this? It is because if what you don't have is very painful, no matter how much you tell yourself, let me just be grateful for what I have, it will overshadow what you have. What we don't have too big and it fills up the whole room, then it becomes difficult for us to see what we do have. But yes, we do have some things that we have to be grateful for. But let's sort out what we don't have first, so that we can now see what we have, if we have anything at all. Because sadly, there will be people who maybe after everything, we will still feel, oh, we don't actually have anything at all. But my next slide now speaks to not what we don't have, not what we have, but what you have. So it's personalized. It says, what do I have? What do I have? What does Esther have? What does Ada have? What does Adeola have? What do I have? So yes, there's all these things that we don't have. My husband and I don't have. But there's all these things that we have, but I'm not ready to look in that direction yet. But what do I have? And this is where I want to start to talk to you. Everything that I've said so far is laying a foundation. This is where I want to start to really talk to you, that you do have something. And some of us know what you have. Some of us have been able to pour ourselves into our jobs. So you have this fantastic job. You've put in the best at work. You're rising up the corporate ladder. You're progressing. So that is one thing you have. Many of us have great kids that we have poured ourselves and our love into, and they're doing very well. You have things. So what do I have? That's a question that you have to ask yourself tonight. What do I have? But there are also people in the room who are like, I don't have nothing. I'm so drained. I'm so tired. I'm so fed up. I don't see nothing that I have. And for that person, my next question is, what did you used to have? And it is because this thing that is called difficult marriage is so draining that it can suck out everything that you have, to the point that you even forget that you used to have them. Take, for instance, someone that has been lively growing up. When you were in school, university, secondary school, you were the life of the party. You had friends everywhere. Everybody wanted to be your friend. You were willing to be everybody's friend. Maybe you were even the social prefect in school. You were the one that knew where everything was happening. And then you marry someone who wants to put you in a, who doesn't want you to go out, who doesn't want you to have friends, who doesn't want you to interact with other people. And before you know it, so that peace will reign, you start, dwindling and reducing your exuberance, your affection towards others, your love for others. So you keep doing all of these things, and then one day you don't have it anymore. That thing that made you special, you don't have it anymore. And so the question to you is, what did you used to have? Because you could be looking around today when we ask, what do you have? And say, I don't have anything. What did you used to have? And do you know why we're asking this question? It is because, and I teach this everywhere, not everywhere, but when I'm in circles where I know that they don't mind hearing the truth, it is because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you actually take a good look at life, from the moment when you start saying, let's just take out friendships so that this guy will leave me alone, so that it will not stress my life. Let me chase my friends away. What you will also notice is that it affects it affected how you interacted even with your co-workers at the office. And if, for instance, you're not even working in a place where there are other people, it would have affected how you interacted with people, maybe at church, or the other parents when you go and do school drop-off, when you go and drop off the children at the school. Whoever it is, whichever gathering that you are in, whichever group of people that you meet with constantly, the moment you say, okay, let me chase my few friends or my many friends away for this guy, for my husband, you would chase even the people you didn't intend to chase. And it is because how you do one thing is how you do everything. We could stay on this particular line for all night, that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you think, let me change this little part of me to satisfy this guy, what you are doing is that you are changing every part of you. And the way that I like to explain this again is, imagine that you are a free-flowing river. Imagine that you are a free-flowing river. You cannot say, okay, on the left side of my river, I'm going to make the water flow very fast. And I need you to chat with me. I need it. That's why I'm asking for it. So I'm not even forming. I need you to chat with me so I know that you're with me. I can be very deep when I teach, and it can really touch you. But let's also still make light of it whenever we need to, just so that we're all together. So I need to be hearing you in the comment section, if it's making sense to you and what is actually making sense based on where you are at. So you can't say to that river, on this side, I will flow fast. Then in the middle, I will flow very slowly. Then on the right hand side, I will flow normal. No, you can't say that. You are a river, you are flowing at the same current, in the same direction. And that is why difficult marriages affect our, what we call congruence. Identity. It goes to the very root of identity. Thank you, Nkem. It goes to the very root of identity, because you are like, this is I'm not me. I'm not me. I'm trying to change to be the person that this person wants. In the process of changing, I'm not being true to myself again. So it's really affecting me. And let me tell you one other thing that it affects. When you show up in the world, when you go to the market, or you go for meetings, or you put a picture on your social media page, or you put a video on your social media page, when you do any of that, showing up in the world, what you're saying, yes, you are hearing it, but beyond what they are hearing is what your I'm trying to look for the right word, the energy, for lack of a better word, the energy that you are bringing. So when you see someone that is not true to themselves, because they are trying to have diverse personalities, they don't come out strong. Their voices are not amplified. So even though you're shouting, so for instance, someone that sells shoes, you're showing up on Instagram every day, on your WhatsApp status, you are wearing your shoes, you are dancing, you are miming, you are singing, you are trying everything that they said in those in those Instagrams and TikTok classes that you should do to make sales. But you find out that it's not really working. It's not really working because your congruence is off. Is off. There's something off about you, and people cannot even put their hand on it. But there's just something off. Today you come, you are your real you. Tomorrow you come, you're a bit unsure of yourself, maybe because you have chopped slap overnight, or maybe because they have said words that hurt the soul, words that make you feel little. They said it to you. So you are trying to show up, But those words are hunting. They are hunting you. That everything in you wants to say, I am great. I'm destined for greatness. But you remember someone's son saying to you that you are nothing. You are nothing. And it just doesn't, it doesn't just, what the world hears and what the world feels, and the you that they see, it doesn't just settle, it doesn't sit well. And so it's affecting your productivity, it's affecting your ability to show up at your best self. So we have to go back to the question, what did I used to have? Because if I then remember what I used to have, I can know what I've lost. And I can start asking myself, is it time to bring back that person? Is it time to reintroduce this person? Or to what extent can I bring back this person right now based on the circumstances that I currently have? So that's the last question that you see on this slide. What can I start having? The reason why you have a picture of a garden, yes, exactly, because it mentally drains you, it drains your capacity to perform. So many of us on this call, you probably feel tired most of the time. You feel tired. You have not even really done any strenuous work, but you feel tired because you're drained. You're drained. There's something that is tapping out your energy and drawing it with a large straw. And so even for exactly, exactly. So it's difficult to believe in yourself again because there's that barrage of that voice constantly saying, the same voice that should be your best cheerleader, the same voice that should be your your hype man, is the one that says, no, 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 there's nothing good. And so you start doubting, maybe this person is right. This person is the one that knows me the most. Maybe there's really nothing good. But not anymore. That's why we're in class. We're going to find that good and we're going to bring it to the forefront again and to bring it to the top row. We're going to bring it to where it's supposed to be, right in front of your face, where you're seeing it every day. All right? That's what we are here to do, and we are going to do it. And we're going to do it step by step. Okay, just come with me. We're going to get this done. The reason, yes, Tammy, I can't wait to. Ooh, I know, everyone. I know. Like I've been saying, as you try to find, I'm going to go back and read that because it is actually many people's experience. Oh, she says, okay, I can't find it. I can't find it, but there's something along the if you're trying to, okay, she says as you try to get your groove back from one pain, another one is hitting you and you just surrender. Not anymore. We're not surrendering again. We're not surrendering we're not surrendering again. We're no longer going to be physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually tired or drained, and we will regain our self-esteem. All right. And I'm going to show you how. It's not by fight. We're not going to fight. We're not going to rebel, but we are going to take a stand. That's how it is. The reason why you have this picture, let me tell you about this picture. This picture of a garden that you're looking at. We're going to use different things to as examples for your life. We have used river, right? And you understood what I said when we used river. Now let's use a garden. So this garden is your life. This garden is your life. Can you see the different colors of flowers that are in it? It has different flowers. It has different plants in it. Some of them are probably edible, while some are just for beautification. But it also has a soil. It has soil that maybe has been, over time, they've put fertilizers and things to make the soil very rich so that whatever is growing on it can be the best uh, vegetables or whatever it is. And then there's somebody in this garden that probably waters it every day, takes out the weed and everything. So what someone said earlier on, that as you are pulling out one, another pain is hitting you and you're just tired and you just surrender. What typically happens with that type of garden is maybe you have planted 2 rows of lettuce, but then somehow people have come with weed and they say, I'm planting this weed. You pull out one, they plant another one. You pull out that one, they plant another one. So we're going to be asking, how do I protect this garden so that they don't come and, and plant another one? All right. And so that is what we are learning. We're learning self-preservation. We're learning self-preservation. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. I have not found it in my Bible yet, where it says, love your neighbor more than yourself. And I know that the husband is the head of the wife. Let's confront that first and get it out of the way. The husband is the head of the wife, yes. But the wife is also a human being. And Christ died for her the same way he died for her husband. Love your neighbor as yourself. If your husband is your current neighbor, you are not expected to love your husband more than yourself. It is as yourself. As yourself. So if this is your garden and the man of God is coming or the man of the house is coming and saying, I want to plant weed. I love you, my darling. I'm not fighting with you, but no space for weed in this garden. It's just what it is. And sometimes you sit there through the conversation, you appear to be listening to what the person is saying, belittling you, and trying to take out all the vegetables in your garden, all the nice colored flowers. You sit there pretending that you have heard, but as that conversation is ending, you are letting it enter through one ear and coming out through the other ear. And why? It is not because you want to rebel. It is because there is hierarchy of authority, even in God's kingdom. And even though the husband is the head of the wife, there is somebody that is the head of the husband as well. And his name is Christ. It is God. So God is the head of the husband. And so we have talked about 3 levels of hierarchy: God, the husband, the wife. And the authority that your husband has to govern you is derived from his authority to be governed by God. So if you deviate from being governed in terms of the words that speaks into your life, the seed that is planted in your garden, you have to ask God, this thing that this man just said, is it actually your word? Is it actually what you said about me? You are nothing, you amount to nothing, nothing good will ever come out of you. You are useless, you are this, you are that. I will go and check my Bible. Is it what God actually said about me? And if it is not, I love you, my son, but that is not me. And so, how do we push out words that are not ours from our subconscious? You fill your mind with the words that are actually yours. Have you seen such people? People who are so grounded in who they are that you cannot tell them otherwise. Have you seen people that they are not necessarily fine, but they are fashionable, and they will tell the whole world that they are the most beautiful girl, and the people who are even beautiful are still shy and saying, I'm not so fine, oh, but I'm just trying. But there's this lady who is not like really fine, but she's just like, I'm the most beautiful girl in the room. And she carries herself like that. She believes it. She has, let me tell you, everybody is brainwashing everybody. That's the truth. I know that the word brainwash is not what we love to use for it, but at the end of the day, everybody is brainwashing somebody else. And everybody is brainwashing themselves. So it's either you are brainwashing yourself or somebody is brainwashing you. Now, the thing you should ask yourself, this brainwashing that they are giving me, is it for my own good? Like, is it going to help me be great? If it is, then you can know and permit it. Do you get? Like, you have this boss at work and they're saying like, this is the best place to work. This is best place to work. We're going to be the best in the industry. We're taking over Nigeria. We're going global. That is your boss trying to brainwash you and convince you not to find another job elsewhere. But you will now have to look at it and say, how much am I earning? How much am I earning? Is it the best I can earn currently? And if it is the best, then I'm like, give it to me, boss, no problem. Yes, I agree. We are the best. We are going somewhere. But if I look at the working conditions in that office and I'm like, no, I can't stay here. No matter how much you do trainings and you do awareness raising and you're trying to convince us of we are the best, I'm like, okay, all the best. I'm going to stay here until I find somewhere that is the best for me and they are the best in the industry actually. So we fill our minds with the opposite of what the enemy is saying to us so that we can flood out the negativity. If you let the negativity simmer, it starts becoming the real thing because you are what you think. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if that person says that thing and you let it rest without countering it with the word of God, and I'm not even saying talk back. I know, because I mean, we're women, you may not be as strong. So don't even talk back, don't even fight, don't even say anything. But if someone talks to you for 1 hour, you can take the next 2 hours, filling your mind with the word of God. What did God say I am? What has God said about me? And that is why confessions are very important. This entire week, one of your assignments is to be saying daily confessions. We'll post those confessions on the Telegram group. We'll send it to you by mail. Every day, I want you to repeat those confessions. Take them like medicine. Take it in the morning, take it in the afternoon, take it in the night, especially if you know what you are trying to wipe off your slate. If you know, yes, talking back is not easy. Honestly, it causes even fight, more rancor. We don't want to fight now. We don't want to fight. It's just frustration that is making us react. So don't fight. But, and another reason, thank you, Blessing, for bringing that up. Another reason why you shouldn't talk back is, look at this garden. If all of this part that is green is actually weed, and you're like, I'm so frustrated. Why is there so much weed in my garden? Oh yeah, give me. Somebody now get you a cutlass. You start cutting them from the top. You start cutting them from the top. Will it not grow back? It will grow back. Within a week or two, it has grown back. So when you attack with the word of God, what you are doing is that you are going to the root of what has been said. You're going to the real root. You're going to the real roots. No, Queen, I'm sorry. the only way is not to leave. And if you listen to the video that I had sent as introduction, I had also clarified a number of things that I'm not going to be advising you on. And one of it is I'm never going to advise anyone to divorce, not in this class. And I'm not going to advise anyone to stay, but I'm going to address you. And please remind me to come back to this topic, but because of what Queen has written, we have to have a conversation. And this is it. I'm here, I'm talking, you are there, you are listening. But what is also happening is that within you, we're having a conversation, which is great. Now, what typically happens when you're having a conversation is someone talks, the other person, oh, okay, okay, Queen. Okay, so the other person talks, but oftentimes, and it happens to all of us, it happens to me too. So this is one thing I should have addressed when we started class. When the second person is talking again, you are waiting for them to finish so that you can talk. So half of the time, we don't actually listen to comprehend. We listen to respond. Now, that can be a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But sometimes we feel attacked. Everything we're saying in this class, you are going to feel attacked because already there's something inside you that is telling you, I caused this for myself. I opened my 2 eyes and entered into this thing. So that's already there, biting you. So everything I say at some point is going to feel like I'm confronting you and I'm condemning you. I will never condemn you. But look at it as the words of two siblings who enter a room to tell each other the truth. No matter how tough that truth is, if they have the courage to say it to themselves, then they will come out and there will be answers. But if they go in there and they're too afraid to say the truth to one another, they won't have answers. They can come out having avoided the truth, but they've also avoided freedom. So I want to please ask, there is something in coaching that we call resistance. We call it resistance. I'll tell you what it is. It is your current fighting to stay in place. It is your current try. Exactly, thank you. Ebony is saying that she said it in her heart that why could be doing this now? I entered this myself and this is the consequence. Exactly. So you've already told yourself that. So there's a resistance in you that is telling you you deserve whatever you are getting. So when I come and I say to you, you don't deserve it, that resistance rises up within you and says, oh, you deserve it too. So when you want to answer me, when you want to type an answer, ask yourself first, is this my resistance talking? And most times the first question, the first answer you give is your resistance. But again, that is why we're in class. I want to teach you how to understand how the mind works. I want to teach you to understand your thought processes so that when your thoughts are aligning with the enemy's thoughts, you are able to pull yourself back quickly. So let's say someone that's, oh, they've made you believe you're worthless. Then someone calls you and wants to give you an opportunity, but resistance rises up within you and says, they will not give you, you better don't feel excited. That is resistance. I want to teach you to know it so that the moment it comes, you are like, no, I am worthy of great things. I am worthy of great things. Every gift that is from God is true and perfect. You know, you say, God is my Father. He's the giver of every good and perfect gift. And with him, there is no shadow of turning. There is no bye-bye. There is no variableness. It doesn't change. It's not today you say you are good, tomorrow you say you are not good. No, he says, I'm good. You say, I am loved. You say, I am yours. You know, if it's singing, sing it. If it's saying it, say it. Whichever one works for you. But you must learn to recognize that resistance and fight it. All right? So, yes, we are worthy. So, we don't cut the flowers, we don't cut the weed from the top of the shrub. We take them one by one, painstakingly. You dig to the root, you pull it up. Then when you've pulled it up, you pick a seed of the word of God, you put it in the place where you just removed that weed from. You cover the soil, you water it. You water it. Every change starts from within. Every time you want to fight back, every time you want to shout back, every time you want to struggle back, remember and tell yourself, I will not cut this thing from the top. Let me start from under. Then when you do that, The way I explain this one is, and it's also in the Bible, it says that by reason of fatness, the yoke is broken. But the yoke is broken by reason of fatness. There's another place where it says by reason of anointing, the yoke is broken. So we'll take the two. By reason of anointing, if I have God in me and I have God in me, and I'm confessing regularly, I'm eating the word of God, I'm digesting it, that every yoke will break, right? But also by reason of fatness, because in those days, what they call yoke is that metal thing that they put on the neck of two horses to tie them together. Then they put the plow behind them. So as they're walking together, the two, they are plowing the soil. They're plowing, they're tilling the soil. So that if one of those horses decide to eat well, despite the fact that they're stressing it and making it work endless hours, that every time they put food in front of it, it eats very well, that is going to becoming fatter and fatter and stronger, and that one day it can just shake its neck like this and struggle a little bit, and that yoke will just crack and break because now the horse is stronger than the yoke, which means that what you need to fight this thing must be first you building power inside you, building your identity, rebuilding your identity, finding your healing from every wound that has been inflicted on your soul first, that it will get to a point, if you continue to get stronger within you, your environment will not have a choice but to align with what has happened on the inside of you. We struggle, we hustle because many times we're first trying to fix it from the outside. So you're hustling, you're like, let me even see what I can do. But it's not working because you have not rebuilt what was broken on the inside. There is nobody that wants to enslave another person or captivate them or imprison them that starts from the outside. No, they will not call your friends by themselves and say, Ma Wabimo, don't come and look for my wife again. No, it's you first. They will start talking to and saying, that one is your friend. What did she see? What did she see in you that she wants to be your friend? They are planting doubt. They're planting doubt. Small, they're planting doubt. Then you too start feeling like, maybe I'm not deserving of my friends. And by the time they're ready to tell you, oh, your friends should not come here again, even you are ready to let go of the friends because you don't feel worthy of them. So we will learn how the enemy operates. And I know we're using the word enemy. Your husband is not the enemy. I'm sorry. And I know it feels like he is the enemy right now, but he's not necessarily the enemy. Yes, sometimes there's that one or two that is actually an emissary, like, okay, go and destroy this thing. But most times we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness in high places. So the enemy may be trying to come through your spouse, but your spouse himself is not the enemy. And that one too, when you learn that one, you will have some level of peace because you can then fight and pray against the enemy. How many of us have felt that we were in a position where you felt like you were praying against your husband just because you are trying to pray for your own peace of mind? How many of us? I want to I want to see if I have people like that in the room. And I know it's a real thing. Yeah. I tell you, radiance is a thing where you're like, okay, maybe I should not pray against. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for telling me the truth. Where you're like, okay, maybe I should not pray about it because I don't want to be praying against this guy. I don't want him to be destroyed. He's still the one bringing home money, or at least he's still the man of the house. But he's not the enemy. So it's fine to pray against the enemy that is trying to come at you through your husband, to bind his works and to say you will set this man free. And I claim him for God. I claim this man for God. And I must warn us. I know that as in I'm going into things that I want to talk about next week and upper week, but we're going to follow the flow. We're going to follow the flow. Somebody should say she praise it and leave it at that without remorse. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you because but then again, one of the things that I trust God, and it is again because it is possible, one of the things that I trust God for the women in this room is that you will see your husband for what he truly is, even if what it currently is not ideal, even if what it currently is the version of him that is hurting you, your eyes will clear. You will see that this guy is hurting me. But you will also have clarity on how you can protect yourself and how you can move forward with your life while still being married. If you choose to, I would love for you to, because again, God changes people. And that's where, and I hope we're listening to me. This is the crux of why we're having this course. That you can see this person with all his minuses, and there's no, what's it called? There's no hurt again. There's no hurt. There's no malice. And there's no bitterness. That is a work that God can do in a person. Because again, we're back to congruence. If you have bitterness, your congruence is not going to, it's like in the middle of that sweet water, that river, there's a bit of bitterness flowing. How? It will tamper with the entire stream. So we're going to be praying, we're going to be gisting, and we're going to be learning how not to be bitter, how to still love despite seeing what's, but how to protect yourself so that you don't become a victim of love, and how not to have bitterness in your heart because you trust that God is going to work on this person. But also knowing that God working on somebody else is not a goal that you can put a timeline to. It's a prayer point that you know God can do in one day, but it can also take 10 years because there is willpower that God gave to each and every one of us as human beings. He gave us willpower. So if he gave us willpower, then we cannot say, oh, this person will change next year, so let me manage. So how do you move on with your life while trusting God for this person to change and while remaining clean in your streams, while remaining uncontaminated in your emotions, so that when the person finally changes, it's not as if you have now become maimed. Like maybe spiritually the person broke a bone, then you are now limping for life. No, we're going to stay with God. We're going to find healing for that bone. We're going to find a new bone from heaven if we need to. You are going to be whole and preserved while God is working on that other person. While trusting God to work on him, you are going to maintain your wholeness. That's where we're going. That's where we're going, because it is from that place of wholeness that you can re-emerge as a new person, that the person will now feel like, even the enemy will be like angry that everything we're trying to do through this lady's husband to her is not working again. Of course, it's not working again. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You are dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. You are abiding, you are flowing. You see that garden that we are still looking at the picture of it. Now the soil that is watering the plants, the soil that is nourishing that plant is from heaven. So it gets to a point that they're trying to plant the chaff, they're trying to plant the weed. It's not entering. It's not entering. Or they, she, you have God now. You have God. You can see it from afar. You see anything funny coming your way. The shield of faith. No, I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. I am preserved. I am protected. I am kept by the arms of the Almighty. The angels of the Lord surround me and they keep guard over me. All right? Yeah. Okay, Bukola. And I really look forward, again, I look forward to having a couple of people being able to unmute every week and just talk to us. So that we can actually have answers. All right. I hear you. And this thing you're talking to me about, I was still having a conversation with someone, and the husband is exhibiting all kinds of bitterness, all the signs of resentment, anger. But it took me maybe a week or two to actually have answers. I'm like, nobody is crazy from birth. Is this how you guys started? Is this thing started? How and where? When and how? And those are also the things that we're going to be doing in class, to say how exactly, when exactly did this thing start? Let's trace the root of this thing. Let's see if it's something we can address. Many times something happens, you ask for something or you need something, or vice versa, and the other person doesn't want to give you, then you start reacting, and then the person starts reacting. Before you know, it's a full war. How did we get here? When did we get here? We're going to be learning. Are things redeemable? Are things actually redeemable? What are we going to do to redeem things? What stage are we in the dematerialization that is going on? So that we will know how we need to start rebuilding. Some of you, by the time we are getting to week 3 or even week 2, some of you are going to have to ask your husband to take him out on a date. And you're just going to have you're going to say, look, I know. You're going to say, look, let's not emotionalize this thing anymore. Let's pretend that this marriage is a partnership, is a business partnership, and none of us get out of. Tell me what exactly you want. Let me tell you what I want. Some of us are going to be finding our voices for the first time. For the first time, you are actually going to be saying, can I tell you what I also want in this marriage? Till now, it's always about you find your voice to actually say, this is what I want to. Can you acknowledge? Exactly. We're going to give an opportunity to negotiate. And that's why I said no to fighting back, no to talking back. No, we're going to approach things differently. One of the things that I did was I asked my husband, let me tell you this one. So I asked him this morning, I said, I'm starting with the women today. I said, tell me, what would make a guy do something that he knows is hurting his spouse, but he still goes ahead and does it? Is it that he doesn't know? Is it that he knows and he doesn't care? Is it that he cares but he doesn't care that much? Or is it because he's a man and it's a man's world? And he had some interesting answers. So we are going to even be learning how guys' minds work. Maybe it's not today they told us, oh, women are from Venus, or what? Men are from where? Mars. It's not today they told us men are rational beings, women are emotional beings. So fine. Let's now come into their minds and see how their mind works, so that we can now know how to approach them. Some of us were emotional messes. Before the guy starts to talk, you have started crying. Queen, I will tell you, but maybe not today, or maybe at the end of class today. Before the guy starts to talk, you have started crying, you have started weeping. How is he going to have a conversation? How are you actually putting your chair at that table? You have removed your chair from the table even before they started the conversation. I'm telling you, and it is paining you. Fine, cry. Oh. but you have to know how to and say, girl, let's have a conversation about this thing. I think it's not an emotional conversation after all. Yes, you have done a lot, but it is also what is it and what is in it for me. If we agree this thing work, what is in it for me? What is in it for you? So we are going to be looking at how their mind works, and we're going to be looking at how to position. One slides that I have in this in here, it says the dog word. And even though you are not trying to eat anybody, you are not trying to be a dog to eat anybody, because it's a dog eat dog world, you're going to have to learn about how it works. So that, yes, so you are not trying to eat anybody, but you will not be eating yourself. You cannot say, okay, I don't want to eat anybody, they don't leave them alone. No, no. Oh my. Let me change my network. Ah, we can't have it. We can't have audio breaking off. Let me just change my network. Um, oh, okay. I need to get out of. Let me know if better. Somebody else says it's bad. So I'm just going to go out and change to another network. I hope we have good recording, because now that everyone is saying, not everyone sure, now that you all are saying internet was fun, I didn't know, because this recording is okay. Internet changed. Internet service. Oh my goodness. Oh, can you hear me now? Two persons to confirm that they can hear me. Okay, someone says is this a yes to You are right. You're right. This particular internet, the new one is even worse than the old one. So we're back to the old one. We have to pray for my internet too. Can you hear me now? Yes, better. Okay. So this is the old one. Let's hope it doesn't break again. I'm going back to share screen. And we may have to actually start wrapping up. I don't want to keep you for longer than an hour, maybe 40 minutes at the most, because today is our first class. I'm also mindful of the fact that it's a Saturday evening and you are at home, you spend time with family. So we may not finish these slides for module 1 today, but I will promise to either record them and put them on the learning portal for you, or we kick off from there next time. All right. So where were we? We were on the garden. I will let you know, Queen. And it's not deep. The answer was not deep at all, but it made sense. It was a logical answer. Okay, so let's do maybe a few more slides and we're out. Oh goodness, this internet. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? I'm waiting for a yes in the comment section so I can continue. Otherwise, let me go and sit inside the internet. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great. Great. So we're back to purpose, which is what I don't talk about today, but we need to first have that whole conversation, because if you're tired from your spirit, soul, and body, purpose is the last thing you want to talk about. So I'm asking, do you want to talk about purpose, or you're too tired to have this conversation? Why are you tired? You're tired because you are an emotional being. We are all emotional beings, okay? And marriage is one of the most emotionally impactful ventures in life. It either be potentially positively impactful or negatively impactful. So, and for us on this call, it has been somewhat of a negative experience in terms of emotional impact. So purpose is the last thing many people want to talk about. But purpose we must talk about. Purpose we must talk about. And Queen, I'm not even sure you should be in my class. So let me tell you why. Because right after we do one, I'm going to have a class actually for um, women who are separated currently, women who are divorced and trusting for coming back together or finding someone else. So we're going to be talking about reinvention, personal reinvention for them. So I don't know, you can still stay if you want, but it's going to be a different conversation. You know it. It's going to be a different conversation. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, one of the the first day that I put the advert for this out, the first person that reached out to me was someone who actually was separated. And so I knew that I was going to have an edition for people who are separated. We're going to have it. We trust God for it. Okay, so my next slide, if you look at this slide, there's food all over. There's healthy food, there's junk food. There's this guy who is like killing himself with food, you know. And I said, what is on your plate? Married, children, husbands, in-laws, your own parents, everybody. So what the picture we're trying to paint here is that everybody has a plate. This is the third analogy I'm using for you today. Everybody has a plate, and on your plate, there are different things. But for some of us, if you look at life very well, currently where you're at, everything that is on your plate, none of it is actually what you put. They were put there as stakeholders in your life. And that's why we use junk food to represent them. That's why we used junk food. So imagine that everything you are currently doing, you are doing it for someone else. You're doing it so that you can feed the family. Some of us are breadwinners. You are like the sole breadwinner in your house. You are the one bringing in the money. Well done. And it is the reason why you feel that marriage is so difficult. And for some of us who are even in those shoes, The circumstances have changed your husband. So it's almost like he should be grateful, but he's not grateful because he is cranky, because he feels like he should be doing the things you are doing, but he doesn't seem to be able to help it. And so he's cranky because you're like, is this inferiority complex or what? I'm trying my best to bring in something to the house. But let's come back home. I just needed to put that out there to let you know that we see you, and this is still the room for you as well. So for that person who responsibilities from your parents, from your in-laws, from your husband, for the children, for everything that you are vested in has crowded you yourself off your plate, it's time to rearrange what Yoruba people will call Eka Dasile Katunsha. Like, let's take out everything from the plate. Then we'll now start putting them based on what actually needs to be on this plate. What actually needs to be on this plate or not. Because how many of us have eaten, and I think this is my fitness class, you've eaten, but you don't feel satisfied. You've eaten, but you still feel, some people will call it peckish. You still feel like eating something because what you ate, it didn't hit that spot for you. That's how some of us are living life. Like, you're doing all these things, but there's still such a dissatisfaction because the things you are eating, they're not things that you enjoy eating. They're not things that you really want to eat. They're not things you cooked by yourself or you bought at your favorite restaurant. But this is your life. This is your life. That's another thing I'm going to convince you about. And at the end of 4 weeks, I'm going to say, I hope that I've been able to convince you and not confuse you, that you are the author of your own book, that you are the server of your own buffet, that you are the one in charge of your life. And that if you look at what's going on in your life currently, and it looks like there is discongruence, it is you, your choices, your thought patterns, the seeds that you have allowed to be planted in your garden, the drops of bitterness that you have allowed people to drop, and that the moment where you say enough is enough, I'm ready to take charge of this plate, I'm ready to empty it and then start putting what actually helps me on it. It is at that point that change starts to come. So if you look at the picture that we have on the right side of the screen, you can see that we have two plates inside each other. Then we have another tray that was used as a plate where they put the tomatoes and all of that. So in this course, we're going to learn how to have separate plates so that each can sit, even if they're sitting within each other, there's a plate. If you look at the first black plate, the smallest one, is sitting inside another plate. What is inside it cannot pour into the other plate. And what is inside the other plate, even if it's water they put inside, cannot come inside where the apples are. Or is that pear? So there are areas of your life that you must guard. There are areas of your soul, there are parts of your heart that you must guard jealously, that nothing must come inside to contaminate it or to crowd out the essence of your being. Eh? There are portions of your heart, and I know you're like, I trusted this person, the person maybe misrepresented to me, or I thought they cared about me, so I gave them the key to my heart. But now that you have seen that they're misusing the key, can you collect your key first and go and keep it in a safe? And it is not because you want to collect it forever or you want to now lock the key and throw the key away into the lagoon. No, it is because responsibility for such a thing as a heart is earned. And the moment that someone stops working for it, you first take it back. You first take it back. It doesn't make sense to give my heart to someone and the person takes a knife to it and starts slashing off bits and pieces of it, and I still leave it there because it is what I'm expected to do. So even though I'm saying I'm not packing out, I'm not carrying my load and leaving this house, but I can protect my sanity. I can shut a portion of my heart for now until I actually start seeing that there is a change, until I start seeing that this heart, you don't want to cut it into pieces. You actually want to guard it. You want to take care of it. Is that making sense to us? And so is why you're sitting there having that conversation, but there's an entire conversation going on in your mind and saying, "No, I reject that in Jesus' name. I am not, I'm the head, I'm not the tail. I am above only and not beneath. I am strengthened by the hands of the Almighty God. He brings me to the notice of the people that should help me. I have helpers, I have friends, I have support in my life." It's making sense to us. So you're going to have to like decongestionate, and something not going to find their way back onto that plate again, because you are going to have learned better to say, okay, let's try things differently. And the reason again why we will not allow bitterness in our heart is because anybody can change. So when and if this person change because of bitterness in your heart, you can go to divorce. Network is showing us Pepe. God. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we can round up and yeah, let's see how we can quickly round up because of the network, and then we hope that next week is better. Oh, really poor connection. Really poor. Okay. Can we hear me now? Are we back? Are we back? I'm waiting for one comment to confirm to me we're back. Great, thank you. I'm going to skip some slides. We're going to wrap up. Remind me next week for us to come back to Girl Interrupted. We will be talking about purpose every week until we're done. Okay, this one I want to end here for today. Step into the strategy room. Step into the strategy room. In the strategy room, every war is won or lost in the strategy room. When wars are being fought, there are the foot soldiers who go to the war front and fight. But there are the heads of state, the presidents and the war generals who sit in a room and they have this map in front of them. And they're using like stick figures to represent people. And they're saying if we attack from here, then we'll come from the flanks, then we will double cross them from here. Then when they have strategized, they then send that message to the people at the war front to say, this is what you are expected to do. We have gone through it. We believe that this is the best strategy for us to win this war. And then the soldiers will believe that, and they will go ahead and fight from that angle. And many times victory is won. So what I have here is that in being true to yourself, in finally saying enough is enough, we need to be careful. It's like when an entire house has collapsed and people are stuck in between, you will never see the people that want to rescue them bringing a lawnmower, or what's it called, bringing a caterpillar. Yes, everyone will get a recording of this class. So you will never see the people who want to rescue the people bringing a caterpillar and just digging anyhow to get to the people who are stuck. If they do that, they're going to kill some of them in the process. So you see, this war that you want to fight is a war. This war that you want to fight, let me tell you why it's a war. It's a war because for some of us, when you came into your marriage, the things you are even asking for now, you didn't even know that you needed them. So this guy has married someone who is satisfied with little, who doesn't talk back, who is humble and, wife material. But now your eyes are open to this side and you're like, no, it's a partnership. I also have some rights. I want some things, So we're saying that this awareness that we're coming into of what we want, of what we should have, it's not a war that will fight haphazardly. It's not something you will rush into. It will be something where we are taking one brick at a time, removing a brick at a time until we get to where you're stuck, and then we pull you out. So I'm saying we're starting with strategy. For the next 1 week, you're not trying to say, I know my rights. You're not trying to have to argue. You're not trying to struggle. Of course, are you protecting yourself? Yes. So never ever take anything I say in this class as, oh, you should stay there and be beaten to death. God forbid that any one of us will experience such. In Jesus' name. So we're stepping into the strategy the next 4 weeks. What are the practical ways to protect us? Okay, so is this to protect ourselves physical assault or from emotional assault? If it's from emotional assault, turn it off with what God says you are, and you are spending what builds you than the thing that you're spending absorbing what breaks you. Exactly. Emotional boost. You have to master the art of, and I do it even to people at work. I can tell you, even if you're my supervisor, but you are saying things that are emotionally destructive. I'm like, this one will hurt us. This one will change our identity if we allow it. So I put up a screen in my mind against what you are saying. I'm screening it. If something is coming that doesn't look like what I want for my life or what God wants for me, I'm deflecting. I'm deflecting. I have my shield like this, like, no, that one is not my like there's an entire conversation going on in your mind as the person is talking. It's like you are responding, but you're not responding out loud. And you know why it's important? It is important because without your consent, no one can determine the flow of your life. That is where God is magnanimous. Even though, we talked about it, maybe if you get the recording, yes, the husband is the head of the wife, but God is the head of the husband. And as at work, if your immediate supervisor is acting funny, you can go above them and go and talk to their own supervisor. You can go ahead. Okay, maybe I missed a particular conversation. I'm seeing, I guess I'm glad mine didn't give me the option to reject because it doesn't. Okay, so I don't know what that is. I must have missed the conversation. So we can go above their heads to their supervisor and say, Baba God, is it true? Now so I be. And he will tell you now, say, no, be so I create you. I created you to be great. I created you to be a wonder and an amazement to your world. And I have great things planned for you. Things that eyes not any into the man. That's what I want to do with. And if I agree with God, even if my husband agrees with God, if I agree with God, then God and I will do extraordinary things. And it may take time. It may take time more than what it would have taken someone who had a supportive husband. But that if I stay at it and I'm resilient and I stand for what God has said, I am going to see it come to pass in my life. No power of hell, no scheme of men. There is not one man on earth currently created or to be created that is strong enough to personally deflect God's purpose for your life without your agreement. And it doesn't matter that it is the man, of the house, your husband himself. What has happened so far is that society has taught us otherwise. Taught us he can decree what will happen. He can shape your life. And because we have allowed it, and it's not a bad thing if he's doing it in line with God's will and purposes. But it is when, and sometimes, and that's one of the things I really hope we'll be able to talk about tonight, but time again, look at our husbands as doing everything, and he's supposed to be more intelligent, more brilliant. He's supposed to have his act together more than you, the woman. He's the head of the home. But many times, this guy is also just winging it. But he wants to look perfect to you. So he's not waiting that he's winging it. He's look like he's got it all together. He has to provide. He has to do this. He has to do this point. I'm thinking of switching to my phone, but again, it's far gone. So we will just we'll just manage for the rest of today, and then I will do better with my network next time. And if we watch the recording for this and it's not perfect, I promise I will re-record it for you. I may not. I don't know if I will be able to remember everything that we have talked about, but I will try. All right. Okay. So let's see what we can do in the next 10 minutes to wrap this up. And then I can set you free for tonight. And we can come back same time next week, but look forward to your recording in 2 days' time if this particular recording is good. Otherwise, it may take 2 to 4 days if I have to re-record. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before we went? That he's not God. He's not God. He's also supposed to be looking to God for guidance. He's also just a human coming from years of conditioning, and it was because it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what he's been through and what he experienced as a child and what has shaped who he is now. So that when he's acting in a certain way, you know that this one is from how he grew up. Now, the more yielded both at God to Christ, the more we are able to be transformed and to ditch negative conditioning from the. But if he is not yielding, then he's not ditching those conditioning from the past. And that's when it starts affecting us. And that's when we say, no, I am yielding to Christ and I'm supposed to be living a life of heaven on earth. So I'm going to protect personal space and protect my heart until you are ready to yield as well to Christ. So that's where we're going. I said, who's your guy? Who's your guy? Take it, put it in your left hand, never let go of it. Your difficult spouse is not against you, he is for himself. This guy is not against you. He looks like he's against you, but most times, and again, let me qualify it by saying, yes, there may be one or two who are actually against, but many times it's not against you, but he's for himself. So he's for himself. And so when he's doing something for himself and it looks like this thing pays you, then you get to enjoy out of it. But if it doesn't pay you, that's when it looks like, oh, you have come up short. You don't have anything, he has everything. So he doesn't have to be trying to be against you. But many times, and that's where some of you wrote selfishness as the pain point. I totally understand selfishness, self-centeredness, because the guy is trying to self. The reason why it pains you is because you are for him. You are for him. So you are for him, he is for him. Who is for you? Nobody. That's where the problem comes in. And that's why we have to start addressing you being for yourself. If you are to be yourself today, what are the things that you will do? What great things will you achieve? What will you do? What will you do for purpose? What will you do for enjoyment? What will you do for fulfillment? If you are to be for yourself, because you have to start being for yourself. So your spouse may be for you to the extent that it doesn't affect him. After that, you are on your own. And being on your own is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, it is society that has taught us that your husband is to provide for you, is to protect you, is to shelter you. Yes. But if he's not doing it, then you have to do it for yourself. You have to do it for yourself. That's how you see many single mothers who are suddenly successful because they know that nobody is going to help them and their children. So they just put their mind to it, put everything to it, and become successful. All right. So I really want to stop. We've talked about this slide. I want to stop. Don't worry, anything. I know, right? Keep the gaining weight just because they are stressed out, overeating, stressing out, looking funny because of this emotional drain. So some people are losing weight, some people are gaining weight. It is just a mess. You have to be for yourself. Especially if you're in a difficult marriage, you have to be for yourself. You have to rearrange the content of that plate and put you on the plate first. Then you start arranging everybody else beside you. I'm telling you, if you're condoning emotional abuse, you are allowing yourself to be used as the rag, the children are watching. The children are watching, and you don't want them to replicate. We replicate what we see. So that's why, again, you must fight. But again, we're fighting from within. We're fighting from within. I want to read a couple of quotes to you from one of my favorite books, As a Man Thinks, James Allen. This is first line is not him. We talked about the garden already. For the next 4 weeks, you're going to be cultivating the garden that is your life. You're going to be taking each flower, each plant, and looking at it and saying, should this go? Does this help me be a better person? If it does, stay. Does this help me be a better person? If it doesn't, go. Okay? James Allen, as a man thinker, said, a person is buffeted by circumstances so long as he believes himself to be the creator of outside conditions. And I know that the guy speaks basically what it is this: as you believe that you are a victim, then you will continue to be a victim. if you believe that it is conditions outside of your mind, outside of your mental state of being that has shaped you into what you are, that will continue to be the case. But the moment where you are like, I must get strong in my mind, I must build mental resilience so that I can get up and I can fight for this one life that I have, to live a life of impact, to live a life of meaning, and to do the best by myself and by my children, by the people that I've been sent to. The moment you believe that, you will no longer be a victim of circumstances. Nobody's meant to be a victim. God put within each one of us what we need to grow, what we need to advance. And even though for many years, someone else has told you, without me, you are nothing. Someone else has told you, I will mess up your life. Someone else has said different things that made you feel up to this point that you are a victim of, and that you can never get away from who they said you are. Yeah. Yeah. I see you, Adeze. But at the moment where you said, enough, I'm going to build a strong hold in my own mind of good, of greatness. I'm going to brainwash myself into thinking and believing that I am the best there is and that nothing can stop me. The moment that you start to build that, it will not happen in a day. It will not even happen in a week. It will give yourself the whole of the rest of 2023 to start that work and to continue to daily build that one day your environment will know greatness that is within you, and it will have to give in to your greatness. It will have to acknowledge your greatness, and that your eyes will now begin to open to how you can live a life of impact from right where you are. Some of us, money is not even the issue. There are people in this room that money is not the issue. The guy is actually giving you money. He's providing all your needs, but you still don't feel satisfied. Like there is purpose. You will now start seeing that even all the friends that you have around you, even his own friends, can be the ones that will contribute to the NGO that you want to start for children who are impoverished. You will start seeing how you can begin to live your life of impact from right where you are. And how your life will suddenly start to have the meaning that you want it to have. So how do you manage the children? The husband is constantly contradicting your home teaching and making teaching difficult for you. So you want to teach the children, but the man of God is constantly contradicting. Fine. It's do your own teaching when it's not at home. Can you use visual learning aids? Are there Bible stories? Are there my children listen to personal growth content? And sometimes we use TED Ed, we use TED, TED Ed, that one for kids, but they seem to have outgrown that one. So now I'm like, you guys are watching, and people looking to you engage that are watching. They're grown-ups. Yes, they're like maybe in their early 20s or teenagers themselves, but they're grown enough for you to understand them. And you can understand TEDx speakers too. So we put a TEDx message, or a TEDx speaker who is teaching about habits, who is teaching about sleep, with anything you notice. Maybe if it's not coming directly from your mouth, he may let them watch it. Find someone that is saying exactly what you want to say. Play it as a video, play it as a movie, play it as something, and let them watch. Or when it's not around, you start to teach them. Children absorb out. Even early in the morning, they are preparing for school. Put a phone beside them. Let it play in a, when choose. No. I hear you, Farida. You just continue to model what you want to see. Obviously, it pisses you off that he himself opens his mouth to cheat. So you also now have to ask yourself, am I doing this because I don't want children to be like their dad? And of course, it is a valid thing to say there are things that are not great that I want this guy to work on. And I don't want the children to learn it, even while he's not yet ready to work on it. So let me work on the children. You have to believe in the power of prayer and the power of modeling, even as a mother. All right. Because they are going to see their father. So we're not going to say, oh, let them not see him. But we also know that they said when the cattle came to feed, when they came to that Joseph will put the rod, he will put the plain one, and all of them started having plain kids. Then he put the spiked one, striped one, and then they started having it. So you must trust that the modeling that you are given positively is going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact. There are some things you have to close your eyes to in the now and just focus. You can even put a reward to it. Just focus on growing them yourself and saying, guys, if you eat without chewing, if you eat without opening your mouth and chewing loudly for the next 2 days, I'm going to give you 2 candies, or I'm going to give you, I'm going to buy you a book, or I'm going to take you to the movies, or what they like. Put a reward system to it. Put a reward system to it, okay? And that should help. How do I release myself? How do I release myself from looking? I can't do this in the middle of the circumstances. It feels we have issues to address and talk about. The other party doesn't want to have a meaningful conversation, just want issues to be swept under the carpet. It's deep, but it's doable. Now, the reason why you find it difficult to release yourself is because sex starts from the mind. Sex starts from the mind. So if you are not encouraged in your mind, you are not likely to put in, to want it, or put in your best effort to it. So what works in this circumstance is we're trying to say correct. So let love making another thing that is wrong. You must brush yourself into saying, I'm not going to go and have sex with somebody outside. So this is right. Is right. So I'm going to get it, and I'm going to again. Maybe for a number of us, it felt like you were in love making, but know that this also satisfaction and it gives me release. I actually enjoy making love. Then I want it. So even if we are fighting, it's time. And the same thing, if he says it's time, it's time. Let this fight not enter. Of course, let's qualify it. There are people who have been cheated on and it pains you. So you are like, I can't even see myself sleeping with him. That one, and that's why we're sending in those confessions. We're going to be dealing with soul wounds. We're going to be dealing with hurts and their effect prayerfully. That one is dealt with in the place of prayer, where you're like, God, help me, heal my heart of every hurt that this person's infidelity has brought to me, so that I can enjoy what is still enjoyable in this marriage. So is to brainwash yourself into saying, I will enjoy sex, oh God, because it is my right. It is my right. Oh, okay, Radiance. Okay, Radiance. Great to have you in class. And we said we will have a conversation on how to have meaningful discussion, meaningful conversations. We will have discussions on how men think, so that when you are finally now ready to come with your point, you're able to come in a way where you can say, no, I'm not going to have this discussion. And then when he still says, I'm not going to have this discussion, you are able to put your point out there and say, fine, I know you list things under the carpet, but let me put A, B, C, D clearly to you. This is how I feel. This is why I feel so. And whenever you're ready to have the conversation, I'm ready. It takes maturity to be able to have that kind of conversation, and in the night to say, oh yeah, I need this thing, and to initiate sex or to receive if it's the one initiating, because you're not going to go and get it from outside anyway. And of course, if he's still cheating, it is wisdom to insist that he uses protection, because you don't want to go and catch something. All right. So it is all of those wise things that we have to start thinking about, and to start, and to have that conversation of, I can't trust you right now. And I don't know if you are still with this person. I have a strong feeling that you are with someone, and I've seen evidence to it. So I'm going to insist that you use condom for this period until I know I can trust you again. We're not supposed to be so passive that somebody is cheating and you let him in, and now everybody is struggling with, what do they call them, STDs, or no. And people have, I know one person, and then someone has told me of a direct relative that has happened to. What am I saying? I know two people that I know personally that have, like, lived with, who have been victims in this way, where the husband will just find this. Next thing, he comes home, infected her AIDS. In the two cases, the second case, wife and the twin children died. The first case, hadn't even started having children, newly married. So it is not wisdom, it is not submission. Some things that were taught as submission is not submission. It is not. It's not. God would never have expected that a submission should be that. Someone says, my husband always tells my kid that I'm a failure, insults and calls me name, and I'm scared the boy love me. Then sometimes I feel like telling them their father's bad traits. Don't do it. I know it is very tempting to. What we are going to do is we are going to skill you up, we're going to grow you, and we're going to look for God helping us as we talk in class. You realize opportunities to shine that God wants to give you, such that even if he's saying she's a failure, the children can see that mommy is doing well in A, B, C, D. So you cannot argue with results. You can't argue with results. So fine, let him continue to say it. You dig down, put your head down, get work in, put in some work, get your results, and promise yourself, I'm going to be that person that my children will say, that's my mommy. Do you know my mommy? Do you know my mommy? And some of these things, I'm praying for perspective for us. Because some of these things, it's not even like you're going to start a big business. No. If, for instance, philanthropy is what you are called to, and then you are like, hey, even though I'm a full-time mom, I can start to teach maybe the Almajiri children, or just in the area that you have been called to, saying, I'm going to make an impact. Even if it's adult education today, I'm going to gather the adults in my environment, and for 2 hours a day, I'm going to teach them, or I'm going to empower them, teach them how to make candles, how to make chinchin. I'm going contribute positively to the world, guess what is going to happen? The people that you are helping, they are going to start coming back and saying, thank you. You are such a valuable person to us. You have been of great, God has used you for us. And guess what? The children are going to start overhearing. And so the next time I wants to say you are a failure, even he to sound funny to him, because people will meet him on the road and say, God bless your wife. Thank you for letting her help us. And she's doing it in my, she's not asking me for permission. But use proofs to disprove that action. All right. Okay. Let's read one more of this, or maybe the two. Let's see. It says, do not dwell upon the sins and mistakes of yesterday so exclusively as to have no energy and mind left for living rightly today. So you cannot look at today's problems, issues, and so much on them that you now have no energy left for living for today. And do not think that the sins of yesterday can prevent you from living purely today. Do not think that this hole that you find yourself in, you dug it so much you can find no way out. So don't dig it more. Now start thinking, how are we getting out of this hole? The last quote we're reading for today says, suffering is always the effect of wrong thought in some direction. This one is the most important quote on this page. Suffering is always the effect of wrong thought in some direction. It is an indication that the individual is out of harmony with himself and with the law of his being. For every one of us, there's a law of your being. For many of us, we rushed into marriage. We did not discover the law of our being, not to talk of discussing it with your spouse. That's why sometimes you want to have friends around, he doesn't, or vice versa. You don't want to have anyone around, is inviting his own friendship circle, cooking endlessly for them. And it is running you crazy. What are the laws of your being? What brings you into harmony? You have to start finding them. Then as you're finding them, we have to start finding avenues to have that discussion with a partner to say, this is the law of my being. This is the kind of environment that I thrive in. And to now say, are you able to support me in this regard or not? So that if his stance is, I'm not supporting you, then I have to honor the law of my being. So, Oga, when you go to work, even if it's for 2 hours, 1 hour, I lock myself up and find my congruence and find my harmony and steady myself so that I can now approach the world and bring my best to it. So it's time to stop thinking in the wrong direction so that we can start seeing the result in the right direction. Yes, where your weakness is family. So every one of them now thinks that he married the wrong person, but he will never talk about his own weakness. Again, we disregard everything and we focus on what you know, not even necessarily because they're saying it. You know that that thing they're saying is actually a weakness. Then you focus and say, we are going to overcome. I am going to overcome this weakness. And it's not because of you people, it's for myself. It's because of myself. It's because I want to be I want to be the best I'm meant to be. So I work on my weaknesses. I be the best I am. And it's not even because of them. I disregard their voices because what they're saying is not what God is saying about me. And then I work on myself. I become the best. Even they're like, that's our wife. That's our brother's wife. They will eat their words. That's where we're going to ultimately. When they eat their words, they're like, you have changed, though. My wife, you have changed, though. And even if they don't say it, they can see it, and you can see it in their eyes. And they can see that you are not who you used to be. That's where we're going. But we are not even going to spite them. You're like, oh, I'm not even fighting. I'm not even trying to prove a point. I'm just trying to live my best life. It's only one. Only this one life, I'm going to be the best at it. It's not a rehearsal. It's not as if this one up, they will not give me another one and say, okay, use this one well. It is just this one. So I'm going to make the best of it. So disregard them, whoever it is. I say it that even if it's your parents that are abusive towards you, disregard that voice. Fill your mind, fill your life with God's word. For everyone who feels like, okay, it's my spouse that talks down on me or is trying to make my children talk down on me, I have a Bible verse for you. And it is in Proverbs. It says that, and it's Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman. It says that her husband arises to praise her, her children too. Find that verse. Write in a conspiracy, make it your screensaver, and walk towards it. Walk towards it, and you will see it come to pass. All right? So we're going to be stopping there today. It's been a very interesting 2 hours. Thank you for sitting in class. This is your assignment for the week. There's a book called Day by Day with James Allen. We're going to put it on the group. Day by Day with James Allen. It's 100 write-ups. It's about 100 pages. You will take 12 of those lessons and you will read it daily, and you will tell us a group on Telegram what stood out for you for that day, for the next 7 days. The idea is that we finish reading that book in a week. They're very short, 1 page, 2 pages per lesson of, as a man thinketh, so is he. Lessons that can help us recalibrate how we think and our approach to life. And then we're going to be posting daily confessions. It's just one set of confessions I hope to send to you, but I want you to take it every day and read it and confess it and trust God for it. All right. And that is it for today. Thank you for staying in class. Actually, you stayed till the end. I can see the list of participants here. Only one person reached out to say she has to go, and I can see that that's the only person that is. She said she will listen to the replay. So that is it for this session. I will see you next week Saturday, same time. You will get your replay. Please replay this. Listen to it again. Take your learnings. What stands for you, what stands out for you is different from what stands out for someone else, but your answers are here. So sit with it, and God will bless you. God will gladden your heart. You will rejoice. The whole world will stand and call you blessed. The places where you have been despised, you will be celebrated. And I pray concerning your heart that you are like a city without walls. For God himself surrounds you as a protective shield of fire. He's guarding your heart. He's protecting your heart. He's shielding your heart. That the effect of evil words spoken against you is nullified. And they will no longer have power over you in Jesus' name. That every word that has brought you into a crippled position will nullify their power, and we declare that you arise and you shine, for your light is come and the glory of God is risen upon you. That is our prayer and that is our confession, and I know we will see it come to pass. I love you all. I love you. I will see you next week. Goodbye. Good night. Thank you.